Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Better Life. I'm your host, Hank Hennigan, and tonight we're speaking to Miss Mindy McConnell. How you doing, Miss Mindy?
Hi, Hank. I'm doing well.
All right, good people. As you can see there on her sign behind her there, she is running for U.S. Congress for the House of Representatives, District 2 in Louisiana. Ain't that right, Miss Mindy?
That is correct.
All right. Mindy, tell us a little about yourself. I know you live in the New Orleans area. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm born and raised in New Orleans. I live and work
Oh,
here.
oh, good. And District Two, explain the dynamics of how stretched out it is along the Mississippi River from Baton Rouge to up to, New Orleans up to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, so District 2 has 10 parishes. Not any parish is fully in District 2, so it's 10 partial parishes between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Kind of hugs the river. It's a very gerrymandered district, so there's a lot of little carve-outs.
Right.
It's actually quite difficult to even determine who lives in the district and who does not.
Well, Mindy, you said you were raised in New Orleans.
Yes, I've been here my whole life, except went away for college for a few years, but came back.
I love New Orleans. I mean, I just love the food and the atmosphere and everything that's going on down there. And it's really, really, of course, the pandemic of last year kind of slowed everything down. But 2019, there were the millions of visitors there, and it's a beautiful place to be. Well, Mindy, uh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why did you decide to run for second district of the House of Representatives of Louisiana?
Um, Definitely. I'm a school principal here in New Orleans.
Oh,
I'm a mother. I've been involved in politics. Well, I have a degree in political science, went to law school. So I've always taken an active role in my citizenship. And I definitely, I think, have joined a lot of people in the past few years being on social media and kind of making a lot of political commentary. And this past year, I just, as a citizen, had enough of our governments and what was happening. And just, it was a mess of a year
yeah.
politically. And I knew that I had to step up. Instead of just talking and complaining, I needed to do something about it.
Well, Mindy, have you previously held a political office in the New Orleans area or anything?
No, I haven't. But I am involved in public policy as far as being a district level school administrator at
Sure.
times for the past 10 years.
So you're on the ground level there, from being a school principal and dealing with parents and students and teachers and everything. So that's a very good background to have. You know what it takes to make a family and the kids to pass school and to administrate.
Definitely, yes. And before I was a principal in the last few years, I worked as a director of special education, and that is a lot of legal compliance and policy making. So that role has definitely prepared me to enter public policy.
There you go. Well, like you said, the District 2 is spread out from New Orleans up to north of Baton Rouge, what I call North Baton Rouge, where I was raised. And I'm like you. I've been involved in political campaigns my whole life, and it's just I admire you for just wanting to step out and to represent the people of Louisiana in Washington D.C. As Congressman, Congress lady. So, what really burned in your heart to make this, to qualify for this race?
I have, in the last year, we've seen, I think the bad sides of both of the main political parties in the United States. And we've seen the worst of the Democrats, we've seen the worst of the Republicans. And what we've seen is a bunch of Americans who are dissatisfied with their registered political party.
Sure.
I've never really found a home in either of those parties. I'm a libertarian. For a while, I was independent, and I identified with how Americans were feeling. I've always identified with how Americans have felt in the last year, and that is, I'm a member of this political party, but I disagree with it on a lot of points. And what I see in our government that is the gap or huge part of the problem is that we only have two political parties. They are starkly different and they cannot get along. And so every year what we see is a federal government that is arguing and bickering and playing politics, right?
You took the words out of my mouth, bickering. I mean, there is so much bickering there on Capitol Hill, and it's even come back down to the local state legislators and legislators, and then even the local governments, the city council and the mayors. And so it's bickering, and we need to be in this together and really work to accomplish the goals that needs to make Louisiana and the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area and everywhere in between a great place to live. So what is, before we end this first segment here, just give us a little quick rundown of the goals that you have as far as what you want to introduce or what you really want to change in Congress.
So a lot of the issues that Louisiana citizens are facing right now are state level issues for sure. I mean, we all agree that our number one policy is getting our economy open and back to a place where people are able to survive financially. So there is a role the federal government can play there, but anything that I can do in Congress to make sure that people are able to get back to work, make money, keep their money, and not have it taken away or taken away or designated to a specific purpose that they didn't choose, I will definitely do that. Right. Second to that, a huge priority is the legalization of marijuana. And that is because I think that it is costing the federal government and state government a lot of money, imprisoning people for drug possession, drug selling of a drug that 70% of Americans at this point believe should be legalized, and really doesn't present scientifically any detriment to people more so than alcohol or even cigarettes. And it's a trickle down effect. I work in the inner city, and drugs are the main problem in urban areas. And you take that out.
Metropolitan areas, it's really a big problem. Well, listen, we thank you for being on ABL, on what we call A Better Life. And we're going to take a little break here. And good people watching A Better Life, Miss Mindy McConnell there running for U.S. Congress District 2. And we'll be right back with you right here in a few minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back to A Better Life. I'm your host, Hank Hennigan. And today we're interviewing Miss Mindy McConnell. She lives in the New Orleans area, and she's running for District 2, the House of Representatives of U.S. Congress. And we learned about Mindy as being a principal of a school and a mother, and really concerned about District 2 and what needs to be done there. And Mindy, finish your point there as we close that first segment out.
Yes. So the root really of everybody's struggles, whether it's money or housing or family stressors, is education. Yes. And so a key part of my policy is around education reform. Although I definitely do not believe that the federal government should control much or really be in control of our money. If we are going to pay federal income taxes, then we should filter a lot of money to education and let the state decide the best way to spend that money. When you say education reform,
tell the people watching A Better Life here, what are some of the points as a parent, as a teacher, as a principal, that you would think that needs to be changed, or something needs to be really, really looked at?
This is a part of policy that I'm really on my own on this, because I'm getting down to what I know people need being in education. So we have two big pieces of federal legislation that control education at the state level. One is IDEA, which is the Individual Disabilities Education Act. And that is an important piece of legislation that provides money and ensures equal education for students with disabilities. I am a huge proponent of making sure that IDEA money is provided to states to serve our most needy children.
Sure.
Apart from that, though, we have the second piece of legislation, at one point started as No Child Left Behind, which has really wreaked havoc on America. And I think you'll be hard pressed to find a parent who is in favor of all of the standardized testing that we put on kids, of all the reforms that have taken kindergarten and early education and created this stressful environment for 5-year-olds. So I want to move away from that and provide money for schools to put mental health services in schools, more community-based programming within schools, so that we're educating the whole child and not just focusing on testing.
I talked to two gentlemen last week, and they said each one of them said they had a child that had even talking about suicide, and that's so horrible that that would even be thought of. As of course, this pandemic has got a lot to do. Some of them staying home and whatever, and it's just not a normal lifestyle. On education, what about public education, parochial education, private school education? What is your concerns there?
So we all pay federal income taxes, and some of that goes towards education, of course, and state taxes as well. So if we're all paying taxes and that money's going to schools, then people should be able to choose whichever school they want to send their child to with that money. We need to make public schools that are as high quality as maybe private schools, so people don't feel like they have to maybe use a voucher for a private school, but
yes.
They should have that choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The election is this Saturday, March the 20th.
Yes.
And if elected, and you have great credentials to be elected, what is your number one thing when you get to Washington, what you want to present for the citizens of District 2?
I want to end the moratorium on drilling in the Gulf, make sure that the ban on federal leasing right now is lifted, not because I want to destroy our environment. I just want to get Louisiana's economy back, and that is a huge thing right now. I think that's just a critical need in this moment. And then I have a plan for a long-term transition to clean energy that supports both our energy companies and our environmental health. That's a key priority.
So you would be in favor of stopping offshore drilling? Is that what you're saying?
No. This administration has put a moratorium on new federal leases.
I got you.
So yes. No, I want to get us drilling, wrapping up drilling over the next few years, and letting energy companies create transition plans for themselves that won't shut them down in the long run.
Sure. What's your thoughts on stopping that the pipeline that's coming from?
I mean, it's not the federal government's job the federal government has no business regulating
Keystone Pipeline.
The Keystone Pipeline, right? And state issues. These are state issues. And I mean, just that abrupt decision by one person is scary and should never happen.
and putting thousands of people out of work, and then really, and you can really tell that at the gas pump in the last 60, 90 days, gas has gone up tremendously.
Yes.
And it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon.
Yep. And now we're going to have trucks, on the roads, which are far more likely to have accidents and create the environmental conditions that people are afraid of. The pipeline's the safest way to go.
Sure. I know you're exactly right about that. Speaking of trucks, I'm born and raised in Baton Rouge. And if you're going from California to Florida by truck or car, you crossing the Mississippi River Bridge in downtown Baton Rouge. And they got this nasty problem, what I call traffic. Do you see a traffic problem in District 2 and what we need to do to rectify that?
I don't know if there's anything that any congressman or woman could do to rectify the traffic. But I think what you're getting at is the need to continue to build a strong infrastructure
right.
For Louisiana. Yeah. And in New Orleans, we're wrought with infrastructure issues, as I'm sure you know.
Oh, yes. And what people fail to know is there's state highways, federal highways, and local streets and highways, and which control which. And in Baton Rouge, we have so many state highways that's under state control that people think it's the mayor's problem or their city council person's problem. And that's not the case at all.
Right.
But anyway, well, listen, good people watching A Better Life. It's good to know Miss Mindy McConnell running for District 2 Congress for U.S. House of Representatives. And we're going to be right back, take a little break, and come back, and we'll close out our show tonight and just hear Miss Mindy's heart about what she like to do and see in District 2. Welcome back to A Better Life, everyone. I'm your host, Hank Hennigan, and we have the privilege to talk to and interview tonight Miss Mindy McConnell, running for U.S. Congress for the U.S. House of Representatives in District 2. And as we started off our show tonight, District 2, Mindy runs a long ways from New Orleans, along the river, Mississippi River, up to in North Baton Rouge, which is 75, 80 miles, a long stringed out district. So tell us some of the policies that you feel like in your heart that need to change to help the District 2 constituents. And with some of the things that maybe some of the other candidates are pushing that would be a real horror. Yeah,
one of the scariest policies that other candidates are pushing, and it sounds real nice when you say it out loud, but and I know people don't fully understand, is Medicare for all.
Oh, okay.
It is undoubtable that we all know that healthcare reform is important, and healthcare costs are astronomical right now. But Medicare for all there's a few forms of it, but the form that other candidates are supporting right now removes any option for any citizen to purchase medical insurance at all. So it would end all private insurance companies, and your only option would be to have government insurance. And maybe that still sounds nice to some people, but it's really scary to think about not even having the choice or the ability to purchase health insurance for yourself. Right. Your health is controlled by the government. And when the government is paying for every single American's health care, the quality of that health care has to go down for it to be affordable.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. The big thing now with the pandemic is people getting vaccinated and getting the vaccine and all that. What is your thoughts on that? That's probably discussed at every family level and every business level and every doctorate level too.
First and foremost, this has been an excellent example of how the federal government is not capable of being involved in widespread needs like distributing the vaccine. They failed. They failed miserably trying to distribute this vaccine to us. If they would have just let pharmacies handle it, because pharmacies do this all the time, I think we wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in now, where we have wasted vaccines. People in some areas, people can't find a vaccine. In other areas, they're throwing vaccines away. It's a mess. It is a mess.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that's it on the distribution end.
I just left a major, if I call it this name, a major distributor of pharmacy across the United States, and they had, as you checked out, no vaccine available from us, and like you said, why can't the big pharmacy companies, provide that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is something that they're in the business of doing, but then the federal government tried to control it, and it didn't work. And now we're stuck trying to figure out how to get a vaccine. And as far as people taking the vaccine, I mean, I received the first dose of Moderna. I get my second dose in 2 weeks. But, the government should never force anybody to get anything they don't want to get. So that's a personal choice.
Yeah, taking away the freedom. Yes.
Yeah.
Freedom of choice. Well, is there anything else that you would like for us to just talk about and bring up? It's so many things that affect our families. Like you said, the education system in the state of Louisiana, and so what is it you would like to? We got about another 3 or 4 minutes here for our program. You would like to bring up and talk about.
I think the one other policy point that I'm on a different spectrum altogether than some of my opponents would be the Green New Deal. And again, I get that it probably sounds terrible, like, oh, she's against the Green New Deal. But that's because people don't know what the Green New Deal is.
And that's what I was going to ask you. It kind of, in your own words, tell us what the Green New Deal is.
Yeah, it's this idea from the progressive left of in 10 years, having a country that is zero emissions. Right. And so it's not actually feasible, but it sounds real nice. But I can't imagine the car that, you're driving now saying like, well, in 10 years, you need to get it off of the road, and expecting that all Americans are going to be able to afford or switch to electric vehicles. And that's just on transportation. I mean, we're not even to the manufacturing end, because petrochemicals make every single product we use. And it would end all of that. And so there's no plan to back the Green New Deal. It's just something that sounds nice. And they're trying to sell to people.
Well, in Louisiana, I took economics courses in college, and my grandfather retired from that company called Esso, now Exxon, a long time ago. My dad worked there. And I was telling about my economics class, and he pointed to the river. They lived a block off the river. He and my grandmother, and that's where my parents were raised. And it said, as long as there's water in that river, Baton Rouge South is always going to have a good economy because of the petrochemical business of shipping raw products up, putting them in the plants, shipping them out by trucks or pipelines or up or down the river. And Baton Rouge has always had a pretty good economy because of the oil and gas and petrochemical business.
Right. Yeah. And it's just not a way for all of America to end manufacturing. Or I guess what they're saying is that manufacturing should change to solar and wind energy. But we don't have the capability of switching all of our factories into solar and wind in 10 years.
I mean, what would it take to build a solar, and then be so many men and women and without jobs? And I'm not for the Green New Deal. I'm for keeping men and families at work up and down the river and all the plants, because what happens there affects your schools, it affects your streets, it affects your roads on having the resources to take care of them.
Yeah.
So, why don't you?
And there are ways to. I mean, what we need to do. I think the science there. We know that there's definitely a need to improve our environmental conditions, but there's a way to diversify types of energy we use, and we can do that.
Mindy, in closing out our program, tell us your number on the ballot and encourage the people of District 2 to get out and vote.
Yes. My number on the ballot is number 12, Mindy McConnell. I am 100% in this for you. I am for people. I am not for politics.
People, not politics. I like that. All right, Mindy. Well, listen, good people. Thank you for watching A Better Life. And this Saturday, March the 20th, get out to your poll there in District 2. And if you've heard Miss Mindy McConnell and you think she would really support you, District 2, well, get out there and cast your vote. Thank you for watching A Better Life, and we'll see you next time. Be blessed.